What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Today, I am here with the flying polymath, Mist, Ed Gonzales, hopeful Microsoft Flow MVP. Ed, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Doing all right, John. How are you?
I am doing very well. I am sitting here looking at this gray day as the rain rolls in for the traditional rain for the 4th of July here in the Seattle area. But other than that, I'm doing well. I'm doing very
Solid.
well. Good. So, everyone, if you don't know Ed, I'm going to let him introduce himself in a minute. But he is a brand new addition to the hashtag FlowFam. And he's doing some cool stuff. He's working on some Flow stuff. He's contributing in a big way to the group. And from what I hear, you're even going to start working on some YouTube pretty soon. Is that right?
Oh yeah. Building a channel, building a thing. Hopefully, going to help a lot of folks out. The ones that are starting out like I am.
Awesome. All right. Well, Ed, with that, I'm going to go ahead and let you take it away. I know you have a deck and a little bit about yourself to present before you jump in, so the floor is yours, my man.
Okay. So let me throw that up there. Let me know you can see that.
I see it.
All right, cool. Okay, so today we're going to chat about, using group forms, approvals, and trying to do all of that without any code. That's sort of, a niche that I'm trying to help fill. There are a few other people that are doing a great job with that, sticking to the no code, low code aspects of the Power Platform. I am not into code at all. So my caveat usually when I post things on the forum is you could probably do this with 3 lines of code, but it's going to take 4 or 5 steps with mine. But either way, the mission gets done. So you just choose the one that works well for you.
You know what, though? I love that. It's just because everyone can do it. And I feel like I try and do the same. I bring a lot of people on the show who show very complicated things. But when I try and build it, I don't know how to write any code. So I'm the same. I appreciate that, Ed.
Right. Yeah. And I take my time and, try and do it. And I come up with some really weird things or weird ways of doing things. And I probably skip a few steps. But the whole, like John says, that's okay. Get in there, make a mess, do something wrong, and then, learn from it and move on. In fact, that's the whole mantra behind Flying Polymath: try, fail, learn, repeat. A little bit about me. So I've been in technology for a long time. Started out, selling the stuff, and then got into hardware, and then got into databases, then got into analytics. So varied background.
Bit of everything.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. And then most recently in the Dynamics 365 universe, been tied up with that for a while, and then now kind of doing the Power Platform as those come together. Really enjoying it, having a great time, having fun. It is making everything accessible to folks like me, and lets me do a lot of the stuff that I need to do without burdening, the quote unquote professionals, so the folks over there in IT.
That's changing. That labeling is changing.
Yeah. It's a fun time. So I'm having a good time doing that.
Cool.
Hobbies include aviation science. So I'm a student pilot right now. Aquaponics. I always put in my little bio feed that one of my goals is to feed the world, and then currently fostering orphan kittens. So got a lot going on.
So cute.
Yeah, right.
And you post pictures of them, so you should follow him on Twitter. If you see his handle there, you can see the kittens. So
yeah.
Bonus.
Yeah, every now and then I go off brand and I'll post pictures of the kittens because they're just cute and you can't help it, right?
Totally.
And that's what the internet is. That's the whole purpose for the internet, right?
That's right, cats.
So a little bit about why I like the Power Platform. We kind of covered that a little bit. The way it democratizes stuff, the way it makes, some of that stuff that was previously not available to folks like me really accessible. Between Power BI and Power Apps and Flow, like there's a lot of power in the hands of what we'll call the everyday user. Maybe leaning more towards the power user, but even still the everyday user has a lot of stuff that they can do.
And even if they can't do it, there's more possibilities for them now.
Absolutely, absolutely. A lot more options than there used to be. And because there isn't the same level of, I guess, bureaucracy, it makes companies and it makes individuals and it makes departments a lot more agile because you can build a proof of concept super quick and try it out and see if it works. And then, if you want to make it a real thing, you can, then you can follow the process and do the stuff that way as well. Okay.
Right on.
All right. So we'll get into the demo a little bit. So John challenged me with the idea of using a trigger on a groups form,
Yep.
and then turning that into an approval. And so the little asterisk here is that this is my first group form and my first approval flow. So you'll probably see some stuff that is a little clunky, but that's how I roll, right?
Right on.
So
And this one, I gotta shout it back to the community. This one comes from you guys. I've done a few videos with forums, and every time in the comments on Twitter, I get this question: how do we build a flow off a group form? So I put the challenge out to the Flow fam. Ed accepted, and here we are. And hold on. Actually, one cooler thing. Not only did he accept, but he accepted the challenge and said that he would design it and make a video about it within 24 hours with me.
yeah.
So props to you, Ed. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. It was my pleasure. I really, I wrote a blog post about this, I don't know, like a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. One of the quickest ways to learn something is to just get in there and do it, do it for other people. So you'll find me committing to things without really having an idea of how I'm going to do it. And then the other thing is that, being a part of the community has me sort of stepping outside of my own problems and helping to solve other people's problems. And that has really kind of stretched, my challenges and given me new opportunities and new scenarios to try and build some pretty cool stuff. So
Love it. I love
fun
it.
time. Okay, so here we are at the forums kind of homepage. Building a trigger off of like a personal form is pretty straightforward.
Yep.
Group form is a little weird, and we'll get into that. But first, what I want to do is, just kind of build a group form. The intent here is that I put out in my day job an Office 365 tip of the day. Sometimes it's a tip of the week, sometimes it's a tip of the month, but I'll put that out there. And along the lines, or at least in the same mentality as the Power Platform, I want to democratize that. It's a big burden to try and come up with all that content on my own. So
Totally.
I want to put out a form that basically lets people submit their own ideas, and then turn that into an approval process where I can just look on my mobile device or my email and say, oh yeah, that looks like a cool thing, hit approve, and then that gets scheduled to be posted into the Teams group that I have it in, right?
Nice.
So that's the intent of the challenge. So I'm just going to go through here and tip suggestion and build a form. I'll probably just have a few fields in here.
Yep.
But feel free to build it out as much as you'd like. Won't do description, and I'll add in different types of answers so you can see how it reacts. If you're familiar with forms, a group, once you get to this point, it's pretty much the same as building a personal form.
Mm-hmm.
Topic, and so we'll put in our options. So Teams, hopefully none of the other product managers get mad at me for forgetting something. But I just want to use
This is just a demo.
That's just a demo. Nobody, don't get mad. It's okay. So the next one will just be like, what's your tip? And then we'll leave that as free-form text. And then the other thing I want them to send me the URL, because in all of my posts in the Teams, I include a URL so that somebody can go off and read more about it and kind of do their own research. So I'll just put that there and leave that. Okay, so I think that's about it.
Cool.
And so that's the form. Ta-da. We can take a look at it here, see what it looks like. I've got the
Beautiful.
topic, I've got the tip. I can add pictures if you want. I mean, same stuff that is true with any other forms. So now I want to build the flow off of that. And so here's my flow homepage. I'm just going to skip this bit, dive right in. And then so for the trigger, pull up Microsoft Forms. And then here I can see when a new response is submitted, right?
Yep.
So click
Now,
on
keep
that
in
guy.
mind, real quick, keep in mind, people, this is Forms, not Forms Pro. There is a Forms Pro in there. It responds a little bit differently than this. So this tutorial is just Forms, not Pro. That'll trip you up.
Yeah. There's a few little gotchas. So I will be speaking as I do this to the person that is like me. So there's, probably a few experts, a lot of experts out there that'll, wonder why I'm talking about stuff like this. But here are some, I'll hit all the points that kind of hung me up, and maybe somebody else will learn from that as well. As an example, when you go to pick a form, my form's not there, and the reason for that is this dropdown will only show you like your personal forms, not group forms, right? So, but I can enter a custom value, and what it's going to ask me for is the form ID, which you can get up here. So you'll notice in the URL, it includes form ID equals. Just grab all of that stuff and then go back to here and throw that in there. And now you've got the form, right?
Nice.
So now it's going to be triggered off of new responses from that group form. And then just with any other forms flow, you need to get the stuff off of the form. And so that's what we're going to do here. Again, it's going to ask for the unique ID. You don't want to just copy and paste that form ID in here. You want to make sure you click on enter a custom value and then throw that in there again, right?
Yep.
And then the minute I click on response ID, this guy over here, it's going to throw me into an apply to each loop to make sure that it gets the whole list of all of that stuff, right?
Yep.
So most of what I'm building now is going to happen inside this loop, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. After we do we get the detail, somebody submits the form, maybe what's the next thing we want to do? Kind of thank them for submitting the form, right?
Yeah,
So
totally.
let's send an email that says, hey, thanks for sending that or submitting that. And we'll use this. And that's another reason we need to do this inside the loop, is because the person that submitted the form, you'll notice that on my form, I don't ask for their email address. And that's because I don't like asking for something that I should already have.
Mm.
And in the I guess metadata aspects is the responder's email.
Yep. So that's if you're using forms in an authenticated way. And so there's two different options to use Microsoft Forms. You can use it authenticated or unauthenticated. And so if you use it in this way, which is authenticated, where someone has to be logged in, you'll actually get their email address automatically.
Yeah. So, and exactly that. Something else to consider is, how is this going to be rolled out? You're right. You can't just like jump in and start building stuff. I mean, that's one of the things I like to do. But in that case, you'd want to think about like, how is this going to be presented? Who's the audience? What information am I going to have in John's instance, where like, let's say it's a public form for T-shirts or stickers or stuff like that. I won't have that information, so I'll need to gather that on the form, right?
Yep.
Exactly. So I built this as an internal doodad, and so the idea is that we'll have that there. So I just want to put for submitting the cool idea, and then off it goes, right? So then the next bit is something that's going to start the approval process, right? Something that's going to flip me an email, a mobile notification, some kind of thing that says, this person had this idea. What do you think? And so that will add as the next step. Okay, so here's my approvals, and we're going to start and wait for an approval. I don't know the difference between the regular and V2. I just tend to use the latest version, whatever that is.
Yeah, so that the first one, the start and wait for an approval non-V2, that one is the current, like the action that everyone's used to, that an approval you've been using forever. It's just the title has changed. The start and wait for an approval V2 is actually the one that presents you the ability to do custom response options.
Mm,
And so that's a premium feature and steps you up into the next tiered plan. But those options exist there in the V2.
okay, cool. So I'll go ahead and just use that one for fun. And so part of that is, as John said, is now I've got these custom options available to do that. A lot of cool stuff. John and I talked about a few different ideas. One of them was, maybe we take the keyword for the office tip and it goes and does a Bing search and then returns the top three things. And then those could be part of the custom responses. I could click on one of the three and then it would post that link along with the person's tip idea. So there's a lot of cool stuff that one could do, just not me because I'm not smart enough yet, right? So for right now, we're just going to do the approve, reject, and then take the first to respond. So that means if I send it to multiple people, first one in to approve or reject the thing closes out the thing, right?
They win the race.
Yep. So new 365 chip. Assign this to myself. So I'll type out one of my email addresses. I'll use the same tenant that I'm in now. And then details. So here's something I wanted to share with everybody. Pay attention to these little hints, right? So markdown supported. I saw that. I'm like, well, what is that, right? And so they actually give you a link to a page that looks like this. I meant to have this up already.
No problem.
But it shows you how to format the email to look cool, right?
Yep.
Which I think is pretty cool. And so there were a couple of things that I wanted to do. One was I wanted to make it big. And then the other was I wanted to have a hyperlink to the idea inside the approval, right?
Okay.
So to make it big, I've got my different header levels up here. So I can do an H2 level because that's, not obscenely big. And then down here is the format for a link, right? So I'll grab this guy, copy. Okay, so I often joke that I don't actually need a full keyboard. I just need a control, a C, and a V. I'm good.
And a mouse, and that's it.
And maybe a mouse.
Maybe.
So here it has, whatever the text is, and then I want to put, we'll say the tip ID or the topic, maybe we'll call that, and then the link URL can be, the article URL. So just
Cool.
like that, it'll show up kind of big in a header, and then it'll be a hyperlink, so I can click on it and see what the actual article is about, and then that'll be there, all in just one line of text, right?
Yep.
So now we need to figure out what are we going to do when it's approved, right? And so when you send out an approval, this binary one, the approve reject, I'll get a response back that says, either approve or reject, and I got to kind of build in a path. So I'll build a condition that'll look at the response and say, is it approved? And if it is, go do this thing. If it's not, then go do this thing, right?
Yep.
So it used to be called, was it out? Not, yeah, it used to be called response, and now it's outcome, right?
Correct. That's correct.
So we're going to use the word outcome. And the only reason I know that, as I said, this is my first approval, is because in my searching stuff, all I found were older videos and they all said response. I'm like, that doesn't work. What do I do?
Yeah.
So we'll call that approve and then start building our yes path, right?
Yep.
So let me flip over to my Julia Child's version to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so what the plan is if it's approved, I want to basically add 7 days from wherever I approved it, and then post that to Teams, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to grab the date time from today, which I already know, and then I'm going to add time. Or is that the right one? Let's just type in time. Now you can see what my process looks like. Here we go. Add to time.
Mm-hmm.
And then my base time will be the completion date. And then I'm going to add 7 and then days. Again, you can do this with code. You can do this with an expression probably.
Yep.
But I don't know how to do that. And also, we're just trying to stay with
I love it.
the front end stuff.
I honestly did not. I actually did not know that this add to time thing was there. So that's news to me.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool.
All right. So then now I'm going to look at my Teams triggers, and then I'm going to post a message saying what's going on, and then I'll choose my team and then the channel. And then here's something else. So I wanted to have, a URL that was clickable,
Mm-hmm.
and I wasn't able to here. I wasn't able to do that using this guy, right? And so if you're wanting to do that kind of stuff, you got to click on that button, and then now you can build in some stuff. And I had to go and search and find the right text, or what the link would look like. And so here you can see in my example, I've got the tip text, and then I've got a full article here.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just going to copy this, and I'll have to change the dynamic value aspects. So I'll put in there the topic from the get response details, and then the href will be the article URL.
Nice. Okay.
So here it says full article here, and then that way when I post to Teams, the word here will be a hyperlink that'll take it to whatever article they happen to do.
Yep.
That's if I approve it. Okay.
All right.
So another thing that wouldn't be a terrible idea is to log all of this. So we could throw all this into a spreadsheet. Here's an example of one that I built that just kind of has all of the information in there. And so here you can see I've got all the same stuff gathered. So you can do that in there.
Cool.
And that's it's not a terrible idea, and then that way you could log things like, was it approved, was it denied, what were the notes that went along if it was denied.
Well, and even more so, you could reuse the content a couple of times that way, because then you can just schedule a different flow that takes content from the past and plays it again in like a month from now or 2 months from now, because it's still good information, and maybe people didn't read it the first time. So, just a good backlog.
Right. Or you use that same methodology to go cross channel, right? So now you go to a different vertical,
Totally.
wait 7 days so it's not stale, or wait a month or two so it seems like you're not posting the same thing across all your platforms.
Yep.
And then you're posting it in Teams and Twitter or whatever else. You can do
Totally.
You can do whatever you want. So there we go. So that's the yes path. Let's see what it looks like right now, and just for fun, and see how it works. That's what I like to do, is get in and see if it breaks, and then the fun comes when you try and fix it, right? So I've got the topic. I got to go into preview. So we'll say Teams is the topic. Tip is let's install the icebreaker bot, and then the article URL. I just have to grab this one because this came out a couple days ago. We'll throw that in there and then submit.
That's interesting.
Yeah, right. So if you haven't seen that yet, Icebreaker is a bot that Microsoft is putting out there that basically gives you a way to meet your coworkers. Now, I work at a really small company, so I think it might be a little awkward. But if you work at a big company, I'm sure people will love it.
They're going to have to, you guys are just going to have to get really vulnerable to make it fun.
I don't do well. I have walls. So let's bounce over to my email and see if anything came in. So here we go. So here's the email that I put in there that said, thanks for submitting the cool idea.
Yes.
And then here's the approval email, right?
Oh.
And so from here, go ahead, John.
No, just
Okay.
agreeing with you.
All right. So, and from straight here from the email, I can click on approve and submit. And then that should let my flow run.
Well, and then did I don't know if you noticed your big word teams. It was big and
Oh yeah,
blue and clickable and like it was there.
yeah. Let's. Um, I
You got to
didn't
go to the
notice that.
original message. Click down
Oh,
at the bottom of that. Show original message.
oh, I got you. Thanks, John.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, there we go. Teams,
There it
solid.
is.
So it's there and it's clickable. How fun is that? Thanks for noticing.
No problem.
Okay, so we're back on my flow. We're gonna take a look at the run. We're gonna see what it looks like. And so everything looks good. So if I can do this, I don't think I can do this while I'm in a call, right?
Do what?
Oh, okay. I was going to see if I could show my Teams window
Oh yeah, you
while
can.
I'm in a call. So here we go. So here's the post. Here you can see all the ones I messed up, like this one up here where it shows the URL but doesn't,
Ah,
it's not clickable. So you can see the different iterations as I'm getting smarter and smarter and smarter, right? And so that was kind of fun. This one I got the hyperlink to work, but the actual URL doesn't work when you click on it. So it took me a while to figure it out.
okay.
But now I can see, I hover over it and it wants to click and I can go do the thing.
Yep.
And everything seems to be working as it should, right?
Awesome. Awesome.
So that's the yes path.
Okay.
There's some fun to be had on the no side if you want.
All right. Let's do it.
Okay. So, oops, not what I wanted to do. So going back on this side. So if I wanted to do a no, like a no, thanks for doing, or thanks for submitting. I appreciate the idea. That's great. Here's some comments.
Yep.
I can do that, but
Totally.
it's a little bit weird. But it sounds like we've got time for that, right?
We do. We do.
All right. So let's do that. So if it's a no path and somebody rejects it, what I want to do is grab the comment. So if you remember from my rejection, or I'm sorry, if you remember from the email, I had the ability to approve, reject, and then when I clicked on either one, there was a comments box that
Yep.
popped up, and I could put in some comments. So let's say, we want to grab those notes and present it to the person, and say, maybe resubmit, right?
Yeah, it's feedback. You want to try something else or try next week or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the same kind of thing, and I'm going to move my monitor because that's in the way. So send it to the responder's email. Thanks for the submission. And then in here, thanks for the idea. Please see comments below. Now, what I noticed is when I went to go grab the comments, let's see if I can get that more in the picture. So when I went to go grab the comments, it's actually grabbing the comments from all of the alleged approvers, right? So it's presuming that there's going to be multiple comments, multiple responses. And so the minute I click on that, it's going to throw it into a loop, right?
Yes.
So I'll do that and you'll see. Here we go. So now
it goes.
But the problem with that is, let's say I do have multiple approvers and I say, let's have everybody throw comments in there. Every one of those is probably going to generate its own email.
No, not probably. It will.
Okay. So never tried it, never done this before, but just based on the logic, that's what I think is going to happen.
Yep.
And that's not totally great from a user experience standpoint, right?
Not ideal.
So what I want to do is basically maybe grab all of those comments, throw them in a box, as John and another friend like to say, and then present that box to the user saying, hey, look at this thing. And that box is called a variable. And what we need to do is create the box, and then later down in this step, we'll put the thing in the box, right? Yep. So up near the top, we're going to add an action to initialize a variable. Did I spell it wrong? No. Yeah.
Missed an I.
There we go. initialize a variable, right? And I want this guy to be a string because it's going to be some letters. Don't want it to be an array because it'll just do the same thing. And then we'll just call it comments, right?
Yep.
And then nothing in the initial value. So now when I come down here to my no side, we're going to get rid of this guy. So if I take that guy off, then I can just drag and drop this. Love this feature. And then get rid of that loop that I don't want anymore. And then above this, we're going to add those comments to that variable, right? So that one's called append to variable. And because I have a string variable, we'll choose that one. Here I can choose the right variable. And then here I can add the response comments. So here it'll do the loop, right? And so now if there's multiple comments, it'll run through and just add that to the variable.
Yep.
And now when I come down and I do my email, I can just throw in the variable, no loop, an email, ready to go.
Nice. And done in a completely no code way.
No code, because I don't know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
So there you go.
All right. So now let's reject it and give him some comments and see what it looks like.
Okay, cool. So we can just rerun the last one and see what happens there. I'll bounce over to my email. That's another feature I love.
Yes, test is nice. Once you have a successful run, you can just reuse that data so that you don't have to constantly do the thing that runs the flow.
Right. And that's particularly helpful if you've got like a cumbersome form or if you've got a really kind of big trigger or a lot of intermediate steps.
Yep.
Which is good. Okay, so here we've got my thanks for submitting that came from me.
Yep.
And then the flow approval. And then, here I want to do, my comment.
I feel like this is what I get.
Right. You can't do that. You can't do the thing. Right. So, and this is why we don't tell them. Okay. And so here's the email that I get for the rejection. It says, thanks for the idea. Please do the comments below. HR will freak out. Right. Nice. So I can make that prettier and I could, add some formatting. I can be nice about it. But as the approver, I will know that those comments will be shared with the user. So I can word that occasionally. But that was one of the other things is, as you're building this stuff, you don't have to feel like you're going to nail it the first time. Get in there, build, your straw man or your shell, get it to do what you want it to do, and then start finessing it, start making it do the cool things that you want it to do. And as you learn how to do stuff, right?
Absolutely. I think it's one of the coolest things about Flow is you can make this simple, right? At first, it could just be the sending an email. And then once you decide, what do I want to do with this? Oh, I want to post it to Teams. Well, I don't want to post everything to Teams, right? See how the logic kind of just builds on itself as you think about the things that this can do. Yeah. And so, it's awesome. I think it's Legos. That's how I always like to describe it. And Legos can always be built bigger.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
We got that, and then here's some info about me if you want to reach out. I got my Twitter handle and website down at the bottom. I've got the beginnings of a blog. Like I said, I'm pretty new at this, and content is, sometimes a challenge when you're at my level. I don't always feel like anybody wants to hear my story because everybody's better at this. But I definitely encourage everybody at all levels to get involved in the community, share your story, because there is somebody out there looking to hear exactly what you're telling, right?
There's a lot of people looking to hear how to build a flow off a group form, Ed, and you just solved it for them. So I think that you should give yourself a little more credit. I think I want to hear what you got to say. Obviously, a lot of people are going to be very excited about this, and I'm going to be excited to show you the view count of this thing because it's going to be great. So everyone out there, make sure to go get on Twitter, follow Ed at Ekimist. Go check out his website. He's going to start blogging. He's got a YouTube channel coming. So the Twitter will be the place to go to follow the news on all of that. So I guess with that, Ed, we're going to go ahead and end it. Do you have any parting words for the viewers?
Get out, tell your story, get into flow, break some things, get dirty, learn some stuff. It's awesome. I really dig it.
Love it. All right. You guys know what to do. Please go ahead and like and subscribe so that you don't miss another awesome tutorial. Much love from me. See you guys in the next video.